Lights shine them bright, gonna have a brand new show tonight. With glitz and glam on the marquee, perhaps a Tony nominee. Stars beam brightly, see them glow. Sell out nightly, SRO. It's time to applaud the Broadway Beat. Stars beam brightly, see them glow. In the spotlight of a show. Life is sweet on the world's most famous street.
Tickets, please.
Take a seat.
Cue the band.
And tap your feet to the rhythm of the Broadway Beat. The Broadway Beat. Broadway Beat.
Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, our weekly half-hour behind-the-scenes look at the very best of the New York theater on Broadway and beyond. This week we'll meet the company of the new Broadway musical Lestat, which has just opened at the Palace Theater. It's based on Anne Rice's best-selling Vampire Chronicles and stars Hugh Pinero and Carolee Carmello. But we start things off with a chorus line. Yes, Michael Bennett's iconic Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning musical about dancers on the line returns to Broadway this fall at the Show and Fell Theater under the direction of the original Tony Award-winning co-choreographer Bob Avian. A Chorus Line remains the longest-running American musical in Broadway history. Now, Marvin Hamlisch wrote the music, and original cast member Byork Lee, who's recreating Mr. Bennett's choreography, were on hand to help unveil the new 2006 cast for the very first time.
God, I hope I get it. I hope I get it. How many people does he need? How many people does he need? I hope I get it. How many boys, how many girls? Look at all the people, at all the people. How many people does he need? How many boys, how many girls, how many people does he? I've come this far, but even so, it could be yes, it could be no. How many people does he? I really need one. Please God, I need I knew I had it from the start. I've got to get this
No, it's very exciting. I can't tell you. Bringing it back, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it until the first dancer walked in the room to that first audition, and all of a sudden my heart started pounding again, and it became very exciting. And they're so much better now, these kids. They get stronger every year. So it's wonderful.
But they also do more now, because I remember I was talking to Kelly Bishop, and she was saying, there were dancers who danced in shows, there were singers who sang, and there were people who did comedy bits, and now you have to do everything.
Well, yeah, when I was a dancer on Broadway, we had a singing chorus and a dancing chorus. But the economics are so different now that producers, and they can't do it. One chorus has to do everything now. You have to be the singing and the dancing chorus. And that's the nature of the business. Yeah.
So I know you came out of semi-retirement to do this. What finally made you say yes?
John Brilio said, Bob, you're doing this show. And I went, oh, okay. And Michael Bennett and I were creative partners for 25 years. And if anybody had to do it, it had to be me. I knew it better than anybody. And I'm trying to protect Michael and his vision. It's his baby. And I'm trying to do what I think he would want from it.
And talk about what this will mean to a new generation of people who never heard of the show. Like none of us knew it early on, but we were all, what that means to you for the new audiences that are going to see this show for the very first time.
Right. The new generation, they will probably relate to the basic emotions of acceptance and rejection. That's what the heart of the play is. There are many references in the play that pertain to 1975 that they may not understand, but that doesn't matter, because what matters is the basic, will I get the job, will I be accepted, will I not? We were considering, should we change the references, should we update it? But you don't fool around with Pulitzer Prize winning material, and if they don't understand that, that's fine too. You don't change classic theater.
The best part of this journey for you so far to this point has been what?
The casting in the audition room. Because watching what the dancer goes through when they lay their soul on the line. Like I said, I was a dancer. I auditioned and was in many Broadway shows. I know what that feeling is like. I was there. And you try your best and you go, please love me, please, I hope I get it, and let me be right. In our case, not only was it about the dancing, but it had to be about the singer and the acting and the right personality fitting the right role. But I think we did fine.
I was so nervous, absolutely thrilled. I've been waiting for this for 15 years, and I finally, and I said to our musical director, and I'm sitting in the first row. Usually I'm backstage going, blah, 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 but I'm sitting in the first row, and Connie comes out, my character, and I said, so proud of her, and I'm just so happy and thrilled that I'm involved, and it's just going to be wonderful. It's just going to be wonderful.
Because so many people in the show, it's a first for them with ever doing this show, and this new production is going to be a first for so many people that might have only heard a CD or only heard about the show, and they're going to be touched so many ways like we all were, in the mid-'70s.
That's why it's so important for us to come back. Chorus Line will have a house again. We were there for 15 years. We'll have a house again. And for us, Chorus Line is not just a show. It's a learning tool. So I'm just so happy.
Yeah, Hal is just this married guy, and he loves his wife, and he's just he's a working class guy from the Bronx, and he just wants to dance, but he really wants his wife to come with him. So it's just awesome to have a relationship on stage with this whole line, and I get to relate to my wife the whole rest of the show.
Now you're playing Mike, right?
Playing Mike.
So you're doing the Wayne Cilento role.
Yes, the Wayne Cilento role. It's funny, I've met Wayne before being in the business, and I've always had a lot of respect for him, so looking forward to meeting him and in this light and seeing if he's got any words of wisdom to pass on, and hopefully we'll do him proud, and as well as many other people.
I am playing Larry, the dance captain, and he is Zach's right-hand man in the show, so I get to demonstrate and help conduct. I already have the job, so I don't have to go through the stress of everybody else, which is nice. But yeah, I get to enjoy the perks of being on stage with the line, but not the stress of it, so it's nice.
Oh my God, I found out from Bobby on the stage, actually. I came in and flew back for another callback after the final callback, and he was standing there backstage, and they're like, can we see you for a second? And I was like, okay, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah. And he was like, well, kid, you got the job, because I'm from LA, so I'm an actress out there, so it's my Broadway debut. I was ecstatic.
Well, Chorus Line changed musical theater. It's one of the first concept musicals, and this role, Richie, is like historical, to be one of two African Americans here in the show is awesome.
And a great number you get to do.
Yes, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. Yeah.
Did you do the original at some point?
No, never did. No, I was too young at the time. I kind of went with the Cats group.
Okay.
I kind of came right afterwards. I remember thinking, you're either in Chorus Line or you're in Cats. You've done. The dancers kind of either gotten one or the other. But I did Cats, so I missed the Chorus Line, and then it closed, and I never got to play it, and I actually haven't seen it since I saw it years and years ago, with I think the original company. So it was a long time ago.
How thrilling is it playing Cassie? This has to be a fantasy and a dream role for you come true.
It is, because I sort of remember being a kid and running around singing the Music in the Mirror song. So it is kind of a fantasy of mine. So I'm excited about it. It's a great singing, dancing, acting role, and for a woman, and there are not many of those in. For a dancer, to really be able to dance. And so it's great. Yeah, I'm thrilled. And a great show. That's the thing. It's a great show.
And how thrilling it is now, but the show has come back now, and it's going to, a whole new generation of different audiences that may have only heard like a CD of the show and now going to be able to see this show.
I know. I was thinking about that, because I think it closed like 17 years ago. Something like that. I can't believe how long that's been, and how many people have not seen it, or the new generation. So it's really exciting for it to come back and people to be able to see it, because it is a perfect show. It's constructed in a perfect way. So
now, during your audition, did you have to do Music in the Mirror?
I did part of the dance, the beginning of it. Yeah, they put me through it. I had to do everything. I had to do the opening number. I had to do the ballet combination, which I don't even think I'm in. But they made me do it anyway. But maybe they'll put me in it. I don't know how they may change things around a little bit. I'm not quite sure. But and then and I had to sing and do the scene, and it was a long process.
I'm actually very surprised, because we had an interesting audition process. So getting the call was a shock, to say the least, but very pleasantly surprised.
And is it a dream come true to be playing this role? I mean, did you know the show?
I don't have any personal experience with it. Up. I've never done it before, but I saw it when I was 7, and I loved it as much as a 7-year-old can love it. And grew up loving it, and and that's it. So yeah.
She's the ultimate role. She gets to do a little bit of everything and have sass while she's doing it. Very proud, very excited, and I hope I just do justice to the part. 'Cause I love the show, period, and to get a chance to play Sheila is unbelievable.
I mean, following the footsteps of Kelly Bishop or Carol Bishop, she changed her name during the show. How did you find out that you got it?
They called my agent and just told me we had an audition shortly after Cheetah's show closed, actually the day after, and a call back the following day, and they told me by about 1:30 or so in the afternoon. So it was one of those days where you're like, what? Oh, it's happening.
It's all about the boots. Did you have to get the look?
They love the boots. Everyone loves the boots.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come together now. You're playing which role?
I'm playing Judy Turner.
Wonderful role.
Oh, yeah.
And Gregory Gardner.
Okay, so tell me, has this been a fantasy for the two of you? I mean, Chorus Line, I'm like millions of fans out there. This was one of those first shows that I saw that everybody fell in love with, the original first time around. Were you ever able to see any incarnation of the Broadway production before it closed?
I have never seen any production. I've never seen the movie. I've never auditioned for it before. So I was a complete newbie. Never seen it. So I'm going to Lincoln Center soon, and I'm going to see it. But no, the first time I ever read the play was actually after I'd been given the role. So it's really touched my heart, reading all the books, by York's book, On the Line, the creation, everything is so fantastic because now I know a little bit without having a preconceived notion of what the show is supposed to be, what these people went through. So it's good to take the experience and come into this with experience based, not like what I've seen visually. So
and to have been cast, not really knowing going in as a carbon copy of somebody, of just what you brought to it on your own, which is really thrilling. Now tell me your story.
I think it literally was the first Broadway commercial I'd ever seen. It was the national tour. I was in New Orleans. I was in high school, maybe a little younger, and I saw the tour, the national tour. The first national, I believe, was out. Maybe the second national. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the years are. But then I came to New York, and I saw 83. I saw Broadway, and I think I saw it again in like 87 or 88.
So how thrilling is this when you got the call saying you've got this job?
It's kind of weird. It's amazing. I mean, I did this job. I've done this part, and I've done it a long time ago. And to get to do it on the Broadway revival is crazy. I literally remember sitting in the seat watching the show and just knowing, I'm like, I'm going to do that. I knew I was going to do it. So, and it's weird that I'm getting to do it.
Playing Mark Anthony, really.
So how thrilling are you? I mean, did you know the show before?
I did know the show before. I did it in Pittsburgh, and
but to be doing it now on Broadway in the first revival since it closed, how does it make you feel?
Incredible. We all met yesterday, and it was just an instant bond. Like, we all really get along. So I think that we're going to work really well as a team.
Yes, I do. I mean, I know of it. I know the music, and my mother actually portrayed Bibi back in the day. She was in the national and international tours.
So did you know Bob Avion then?
I didn't, but my mother is a huge fan of his and worked with Byork. Byork taught my mom the show, and so it's sort of in the family, a little bit of a legacy.
I'm playing Don Kerr. He is kind of the, he's the all-American guy, kind of a jock, very athletic, trying to decide if he wants to stay in this business or not, probably in his, 30s, thinking whether or not he wants to continue dancing and pursue a theater career. He's had a long road to get to where he is. As it says in the script, he was lying about his age so he could strip joints.
This show is amazing. You don't really have to do. It relieves you of the obligation to act. You don't really have to do anything because of the way that it is. And walking up to the line was just, everybody was just. You feel so much welling up inside of you. Today, being part of this right now is just amazing for me. It's a great production with so much substance. It's an amazing part, like you say, and also I'm a Hawaii boy. I'm from Hawaii, and Tommy Aguilar, who was one of the Pauls, he was a replacement and originated it in London and won an award for it. And he sort of encouraged me to audition for a production of Les Mis that was coming through Honolulu, and shifted me sort of from community theater to thinking about it as in a professional way, and had a lot of faith in me. And so in a lot of ways, I guess it's interesting. This is kind of for him a little bit, and among other people, but it's interesting to see how things kind of come full circle.
It is surreal. And, you know, until yesterday, when the first time I actually put the full costume on, I didn't really understand. I mean, it's impossible. You can't really know. And then yesterday when we were planning what we were going to do today, and we heard the underscore vamp to 1, and everyone stepped into the line and hit their poses, I got this crazy, like, full-body chill that just kept coming and coming and coming, and it wouldn't go away. And I turned to look down the line, and half the line was sobbing. And, you know, I think it finally now, just in the last 24 hours, it suddenly dawned on us that we're about to open the Broadway revival of A Chorus Line. And just exactly what a chorus line is and what it means to people. And I looked out today, and, you know, as soon as the same thing happened today with the press. They heard the vamp, they saw the poses and the costumes, and, you know, there's some deep, like, visceral response to this show that I'm so proud to be a part of it. I really am. I'm very excited.
Anne Rice's world-renowned Vampire Chronicles arrives on Broadway at the Palace Theater, telling the tale of the ageless and charismatic vampire Lestat. With a score by Elton John and Bernie Taupin, a book by Linda Wolverton, and direction by Robert Jess Roth, Lestat stars Hugh Pinero in the title role, Carolee Carmello as his mother Gabrielle, and Jim Stanek as Louis. We caught up with all of them and Miss Rice at their recent opening night celebration.
I feel elated. I'm transported. I thought it was just magnificent. I loved it. I thought they really got it. They really got it, and they did something fresh and surprising and astonishing. It was just wonderful, and they did it flawlessly.
Now, this is a big dream of yours, wasn't this, to have your books turn into a musical?
Well, eventually it was. I mean, it was really Elton and Bernie's idea long before I ever thought of it. You know, I really didn't know the theater. I mean, it took me years to get to New York. I had never even been here. And I was just swept away by the idea, but I didn't know how it was really going to look or feel. I didn't know how they were going to do it. I didn't know how they were going to save everything that was important to me and yet make something that was coherent and entertaining. And they did it. And I think the readers are going to be ecstatic. The readers are already sending me emails telling me what they're wearing to the show, how they love the show, and this is what I wore, you know, and then more of that is going to come in. I mean, it's going to be incredible.
And talk about your two leads. I mean, to see Hugh Pinero now play Lestat and Carolee Carmello.
They're perfect. I couldn't have asked for two more wonderful voices. I mean, to me, their voices, their acting is very, very important, and it's terrific, but the voices are really important. And they had voices that met the demand of that music, and they carried it up into pure beauty. It was just transporting. And Alison Fisher is Claudia, all of them, everybody.
Well, I read the books, I guess, the first book when I was in high school and the second book when I was in college. And just in the back of my mind, right then, being the little gay musical theater boy that I am, I just thought, oh, these could be a musical. Like, these characters could sing. The themes that Anne writes about are large, about love and loss and family. And so it was always just one of those projects that I had in the back of my mind that I dreamt of doing one day. And tonight, here I am. The dream came true. It's incredible.
Claudia is so out there, and I don't think I would ever have the courage to be anything like that off stage, but on stage I get to be that, and I think it's really cool. You know, it's nothing like me. I hope nobody thinks that.
You know, she's so beautifully written in the book. You went back to read all the books?
You know, I'm in the middle of reading them. At first I was like, maybe I shouldn't read them because I want to take on his perspective from people that haven't read the books that are coming to see the show. And I really want to read the books because I hear they're fantastic. So I'm starting to read them now. I saw the movie, and yeah.
Talk about playing opposite Hugh Pinero and Jim Stanek.
Hugh is a heaven on earth, angel on earth. Jim Stanek is like my best friend, you know, because he's not in the first act. We're both in the second act, so we have time to like hang out backstage, and they're just the sweetest guys I've ever met. And I wouldn't want to work with anyone else.
I'll tell you, the first thing about playing Louis is that you've got all this pressure because of all these Anne Rice fans out there, and you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. I decided I'm just going to read the book so I could figure out how I should be for all these people. I started to read the books, and Louis has a brother, not a wife and son. Louis bites Claudia and takes part in. We don't do that in the show. And the more I kept trying to pick up the books and read it, I thought, all right, this is not helping me at all because it's not the show we're doing. So I put them aside. And once we're all finished in about 5 years, I will pick up the books and I will reread them. I just hope that I took the text that we had, and I hope that I'm faithful to the character of Louis so that the fans, I hope I found the essence.
You are, because Claudia told us the same thing, that she had not read the books either.
Right, and I made sure, I based my show on her. I think Allison is wonderful, and she's amazing as Claudia, and Louis, his afterlife begins and ends with Claudia, and that's how I go with my show. I look at her when she comes in, and that's where I take it. I take my inspiration from her.
Tell me what the best part of this journey has been for you with working on it and now playing it.
The best part of this journey?
It's been a long one.
I know, I was going to say there's been so much of it. The best part of this journey has been I've got a family now, and to be working and supporting them is the best part of it. I've been working now for 6 months as an actor, which is difficult to do, and I've got a third baby on the way coming soon, and that's the best part. And this group of people is incredible, so that's the other best part. And making a character like Louis come to life for the first time on stage is also incredible. And being here with you again. I haven't seen you since 1998, I think, or something like that.
Oh, sail me away, carry me back to my home. I'm tired, I've been torn, a cruel, wretched storm turns like a gale in my bones. Oh, sail me away, carry me back to my home. Sail me away, carry me back to my
I feel great. I feel relieved. I feel like we've worked our butts off, and it's nice when you work very hard, and then the product that you come out with is great, and you feel proud of it. And it's been a long road to get here. We went to San Francisco with it, and did a lot of changes to make things much better and clearer. And I feel like where we've come out is a show that is accessible to everyone, as opposed to maybe just the people that are the Anne Rice fans and have read the books. Because that was, I think, a trap we might have fallen into in earlier incarnations. But I feel like it's a clear story and an emotionally engaging story. As Bernie Taupin says, it's a non-vampire musical. It's really not about that at all.
Anne Rice said she was so happy tonight. I mean, she's been happy all during this time period. But
I got to speak with her opening night of San Francisco, and she kind of gave me her blessing, and that meant the world to me, more than anyone can. To bring a character out of a book to life and have the author endorse you and say, you are everything that I wrote about. That meant the world to me. That's why I grabbed her on stage tonight. I think I scared her. I was like, I'm not going to bite you.
Did you read the books before going into this whole thing? Okay.
I read number one. I read the books when they first came out. I love the books. I love vampires. I love all of that stuff. And but before I started rehearsal, I read everything over again. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of my little Bible. I go back if I'm having trouble or questions with a moment. I go back to the book. And even if it's a departure from the book, you can still gain a lot of the backstory from the book.
We'll race against the light and leave the sun behind and feel the power of everlasting youth inside. Take me, give me new life, and we'll live beneath the stars together and forever. I beg you, take me as you are.
I loved the character in the book, but the character that they've created for the show is kind of different. So in the book, she was much more reserved and colder and distant. And they wanted to really make her warmer and more accessible to the audience, which I think was a good idea. So it was hard for me because I had to kind of wean myself away from what I had thought the character was going to be originally. But I think we've come to a nice middle ground now where she has some of that reserve, but she also is, you know, sort of open-hearted to her son. And she's a lot of fun to play.
The transition scene is incredible when you transform into the young Gabrielle. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
As an audience member.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite moments, especially when I get to jump on Chris Peluso and attack him.
This great score that you get to sing. You have so many beautiful numbers that Elton and Bernie have written for you.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be the first person ever to sing an Elton John, Bernie Taupin song. You know, I mean, it's something you dream of as a performer, to have someone entrust you with some material, and you know, the fact that they feel comfortable letting me be the first person to ever sing these songs on stage is thrilling.